I want to talk about the Mafia, supposedly, quote unquote. Not that I'm in the Mafia or anything. But just to give you a little idea, a little history. Basically, almost any secret society that, they're in the Mafia, they never say it, of course. But, it could be anything. It could be in Japan. It could be where they started martial arts on the island of Okinawa. It could be ninja. It could be anything. Usually the society started. Why? Because there was oppression. So that's one reason. You say, Alex Jones will put something out there like, the global mafia. That ain't the mafia. That ain't the mafia. It's bullshit. It's always been this way, and it always will be, that it's about oppression and actually protecting the people or protecting their own business. Now, you could say the mafia is in illegal activities. But you know what? The mafia is not even just the people who, give those illegal activities or make them available. It's the demand. It's the buyer. So who is the mafia? It's the public also. So say, for instance, marijuana is illegal or something, and say the mafia supplies that, or gambling's illegal and the mafia supplies that, or whatever, right? It's not like they're forcing it on anybody. It's people want it. So, it's a good example was how the religious try to ban alcohol like it was going to solve mankind's problems or something, because alcohol created all these sins and crimes and violence and lust, and so if they ban alcohol, everything will be fine. So people still wanted the alcohol. The guys that banned it, they had 20-year supply. They didn't give a damn. People still wanted the alcohol, so they got supplied. So who's the mafia, right? Actually, well, I could say a couple things where, anyway, but we'll get into that. But I got to say this also. I know, like, you hear about Jewish people in a mafia per se, right? I'm going to tell you this, and this is how I see it. And this is how I see it with the average Jew. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but they got a serious righteous streak in them. If they see somebody oppressed, and they're like, this one individual's oppressed, and nobody gives a shit about him, they will help him. Many times. That's exactly how they are. They got a serious righteous streak in them. Sometimes people get a little mad because it's too liberal, but you know what? Most of the policies in the United States that got into, like, helping the poor, and I know it gets a little excessive, and and helping out this person and that person, it's come from the Jews have pushed that. They have a serious righteous streak in them, big time. That's my personal belief on that. And like I said, anybody that's supposedly a criminal, they're supplying gambling or whatever for horse races or whatever, it's not like they're forcing it on people. And when you think about it, say you have gambling operations about horse races in the Meadowlands, New Jersey, right? Well, you know what? It's 100 times more efficient run under this quote-unquote mafia than it is under the government. You think everybody, in the movies, they make it look like the mafia's got all this money. That ain't true. They got all these freaking bookies and stuff like that. They ain't making shit. They're making a little money here and there. They're freaking people that are very helpful people, providing a service in different ways for like small amounts of money. And it's something you won't see the government ever do. See, Alex Jones like to make it sound like, the government's the mafia, but when the hell did you ever see the federal government say, oh, the mafia is great? Oh, hell no. Hell no. They're always looking out for something. Actually, the only reason and it's, like I said, they started out, any secret society, I don't care what it is, it could be in Japan, it could be in Europe, or whatever, it was because of oppression. And, that's one reason, a lot of people can't see it, but, they only see the guys like Bernie Madoff on the top and all this garbage, some bad guy, that's the ones that make the news. But Jews aren't all that super rich. What the hell, man? You think they're all in the mafia? But there's a tendency for Italians and Jews to work together for that reason, because of the oppression from way back. But I could say that's not really the reason there is today. There is actually a major, major, major righteous streak in Jews. I see. So I like them. I like them. It's not like every freaking person I like, but that's generally how I see it. And the people on the top that are wheeling and dealing in the big, ultra big money, they don't have a religion. They're not anything. They could have been born Jewish or Muslim or Christian or Catholic or whatever, or Buddhist or whatever. Whatever they are, that is not what they're about. They're a bottomless pit, and they have to have more and more and more. It has nothing to do with any kind of religion in any way, shape, or form. So, I could probably say a lot of stories about, and actually I hinted on some of my other videos about some stuff, but it goes right over people's heads. It goes right over people's heads. I don't know what they think. And I kind of figured that too. But there is an underground financial system. There is. I don't know much about it. I know it exists. I didn't get it from the internet. Okay? So, I got it from, people I've heard about, talked to, and people associated with. Big deal. But they're not all bad. Because if they get a lot of money, what they're going to do is put the money to work in the United States, employing people on major projects and hiring thousands and thousands of people. Because I can tell you this, the American Mafia is 100%, I'll put it this way, 110% pro-USA. And I have to also add this. When you get people like Vladimir Putin, or some Chinese leader, or whatever, they always want to throw dirt at the West, and they're playing like they're a saint going to church, and they did this and they did that. They're worse than our leaders. But our leaders are not the Mafia. They aren't. They never have been. The government is always trying to find out what the Mafia's doing because they want all the freaking tax revenue. What do you think? You think the Mafia is the government? No. How the hell could you even think that? Alex Jones says that shit. He confuses the words. So I don't know what the game is. I don't like that guy. I'm 110% pro-USA, but I am not for any kind of overly restrictive rules, and I actually like to see the clock turn back where they have laissez, faire, capitalism, and people can do what the hell they want. But I don't want to see a lot of the social programs turned back, which was basically a lot due to the Jews because they care about people. What do you think we got a lot of? I'm not like a total liberal, but I see a need for these type of things. And I can tell you one thing. Most Jews have a big time righteous streak in them about what's fair and square, and they will help the oppressed. Because many times they feel like they're oppressed and they identify with somebody that's oppressed. So if you ever get in a real jam and you think the Jews are the bad guys, and I'm not saying from my personal experience, because to tell you the truth, I really like those guys, man. I'll work 10 times harder for them. Serious. I seriously will. But it's not because I'm kissing their ass, it's because I know to deal with those kind of people. I've seen it too many times. They help the oppressed because they feel that's unjust as all hell because they're aware of what oppression is about. And remember, the Mafia formed out of oppression, out because they were oppressed and they became the force to protect the people. And of course, it got out of hand in some areas, but generally speaking, no, not at all. See, the Mafia is not the government and never has been. It's about freedom and doing your own thing. And that's what the United States is about. Freedom and doing your own thing, as long as you're keeping it within the parameters of the Bill of Rights and you're not trampling on other people's rights. So, if the people want booze and it became illegal, well, if the so-called Mafia supplied it, who's to blame? It's not really that. It's just like it was a dumb law, wasn't it? Maybe some of the laws they got out today are dumb, but it's not the Mafia making those laws. It's only those, they're just supplying the goods. And they might be supplying gambling. So, anyway. And you think it's bad sometimes what the Mafia does, but you got to remember, the Mafia don't control all these things that the government does, too. They don't control Guantanamo Bay, they don't control the federal government, prison systems, and, work corporate prison systems and all that other stuff. They don't control that. So, take your pick. So, I could tell you a couple things like, well, I'll say it because I don't know guaranteed, but I've been heard it for freaking decades, and I heard it from other people in family. I'm related to Robert Vesco, who was a big time name in the 70s. I'm also related to British royalty. He was my great grandfather. He was like 6'4". He was half English. I don't want to say the name because it was an English name changed to Italian, and he was born near Big Ben. So, pretty interesting stuff. I got some weird shit I could say, but I don't want to say too much about that. But I'm going to tell you one thing: the Mafia has never been about oppressing the people the way they show in the Hollywood movies. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's always about fulfilling a need that people want, and that's all it is. It's laissez, faire capitalism to the max. That's all it is.